premature, folks. Former Massachusetts governor is regaining some real momentum heading into Super Tuesday, which, of course, is next week. It was a convincing 20-point win in Arizona. Look at those numbers. Mitt Romney coming in 47% over Rick Santorum's 27%, and that equated to a giant exhale, not just there, but also a bigger exhale in his home state of Michigan. A loss there could have been a bummer, to say the least. But he did pull out a 3-point win over Rick Santorum. Just 3 points, though, in your home state? But he was sounding very presidential and refocusing on President Obama. Have a listen.
He thinks he deserves a second term. He says, we can't wait. To which I say, oh, yes, we can.
Oh, yes, we can. Adopting a very popular phrase among some folks last time round. The quadrennial thing that happens every 4 years. That was our other word of the day. From Washington, I welcome our Republican strategist, Matt Keelen. Also here in New York, good friend John Avlon, senior political columnist with Newsweek and the Daily Beast. Nice to see your happy face this morning, John. And in Washington, Marjorie Clifton, a Democratic strategist and national editor of GoVote.com. John Avlon, I want to start with you because as we got through this last squeaker in Michigan, I was reminded of some of the things that Mitt Romney was facing going into Florida and Michigan. Let me remind our viewers what he was saying about Florida, going into Florida, a place that was desperate about mortgages being underwater. Have a listen.
Don't try and stop the foreclosure process. Let it run its course and hit the bottom, allow investors to buy homes, put renters in them, fix the homes up, and let it turn around and come back up.
Ouch, not the thing you want to hear if you're underwater. Prevailed well in Florida. And if that wasn't enough, as he was heading into his home state of Michigan, he was reminded of his 2008 op-ed in the New York Times, which had this headline, just go ahead, let Detroit go bankrupt. And yet, John Avlon, with a headline like that, he still prevailed in his home state as well. I am not sure I quite understand it. Is it just that Republicans are great with super fiscal conservatism? And how's that going to play when we get to the general election?
Well, I mean, look, Romney, it was a narrow win in Michigan, and actually it turned out to be a delegate split. And remember, this is really a fight for delegates to get to the nomination. So he was denied that. He won it with 9 points 4 years ago. So while the Romney camp is breathing a deep sigh of relief today, because it would have been disastrous to lose Mitt's home state, he's in a good position heading into Super Tuesday, but there's still a lot of doubts among, especially base activists, among his campaign. But he's got 2 wins on the board, strong win in Arizona, as you said, and those comments about Detroit did not prove to be dispositive. He was able to carry on to fight another day and have a double win heading into Super Tuesday, which stops the sense of bleeding of confidence that his campaign had been suffering from.
Yeah, but those numbers sure switcheroo when you see the independents and the Democrats weighing in on whether they like those kinds of headlines and those kinds of comments. Let me switch gears to a little bit to what you were alluding to, and that is next week. Because you know what? Michigan and Arizona was so yesterday, and Super Tuesday, the big kahuna, has 437 delegates at stake on one fell swoop night. There's your map right there. Just to highlight a few of the biggies: Georgia, Idaho, Ohio, Tennessee, Virginia. Matt Keelen, I'm trying to figure out how that map's going to play out. I don't sense a sweep anywhere, but do you sense that one of these 4 is going to emerge extraordinarily happy from Super Tuesday?
Actually, I think everyone's going to be looking to Ohio as a bellwether. Right now, Rick Santorum is leading. But I do think Motown is the place where Mitt got his groove back. He's going to be able to string together a couple of weeks where he can reclaim the mantle of frontrunner. He's going to have to do it in Ohio next week. And then Georgia, Newt Gingrich has to win Georgia to stay in this race.
And do you think, listen, there's 76 delegates in Georgia. That is big, 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 big. Do you think he's going to do it? He's polling well there, but we've got another week to go.
I do think he'll end up winning in Georgia, and this thing will continue to go on for several more weeks to come.
So I guess if we look at Super Tuesday, a week is an eternity in this race. It has proven to be. Is there enough momentum coming out of this sweep from yesterday to pull Mitt through Super Tuesday well, Matt?
I think this is going to be the true test if he can put together several weeks. You know, every week we seem to have a new front runner, but no one's been able to really keep that mantle. So if Mitt Romney is going to turn it on and get to the nomination, he's going to do it right now.
All right, so Marjorie, I want you to take a look at the leaderboard. I got the delegate count as of midnight last night, and you know how it's kind of weird in Michigan. There's a whole proportionate allotment of delegates, per district. They allot who the winners are. You can win the popular vote and still not come out with more delegates. But as of midnight, Mitt Romney comes in at 165 delegates. That's compared to Rick Santorum's mere 44. I mean, there's a big discrepancy in the leaderboard in this election so far. Does that equate in voters' minds as we move forward? Do you think people are looking at, wow, look how many delegates Mitt's won so far? Or are they just looking at what happened, yesterday or last week?
Yeah, I think that while we'd like to believe everyone outside of Washington understands the entire process, the whole delegate, superdelegate is sort of a mystery even to those politicos. So I think the public really is going to be watching what is said in the coming weeks. We do not have a debate leading up to Super Tuesday. So it's all going to be how they message coming out of Michigan and Arizona. And while I think, as Matt said, Romney got his groove back a little bit. As we've seen historically, it's been a bit of a seesaw. We've had Santorum and then Romney rise again, and I think it's really going to be a toss-up coming up into Tuesday.
All right, you heard it here first. Matt, John, and Marjorie, thanks very much, guys.
Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you.
38 minutes past.